Rosa and Ms. Horgan kind of touched upon it a little bit, are some of the programs we have been working with and some we actually created. But I'm going to focus more on the communication aspect of it. As a staff, when working to establish new programs or working with programs that are presently in place, one of the areas that we find is critical to its success has been the communication process. And that's not just with us as a staff, but also with the students and their families as well. You can imagine that a high school student is very, very busy, and sometimes information that we relate to them doesn't always get home. So to help bridge those gaps, we offer a couple of different methods. And just to briefly speak about them, first and foremost, and I know Mr. Rose and Ms. Horgan talked about it, it's never too early to begin the post-secondary planning. We focus with the juniors, and how we do that is during our course selection assembly. We talk to the junior class about that process, but we also budget some time in that, which we introduce to them what they should be doing for the rest of their junior year, talk about some of the things that they should be working on over the summer, and help them prepare them for what to do during their senior year. During this time, we give them a checklist of things that we find would be helpful for them, things such as how to register for the SAT and for the ACT, give them information on what they should be doing when visiting colleges. We do encourage the juniors to spend their time to start thinking about that and visit some of the schools. And by virtue of the location in which we are in, they can go to about 3 or 4 or 5 schools in one day. We follow this up with an assembly with a night in which we have our junior parents and guardians of the junior class or anyone else in the community come to the high school, in which we do a PowerPoint presentation in which we go over the entire post-secondary process. Within this presentation, we hand them a packet of information that they can take home with them that details not only what they should be doing for the remainder of their junior year, but what to expect for their senior year. It's kind of the first step that we feel it's important not only to get the information off to the students, but also to the parents, because it's a critical time and there's a lot of anxiety that might be swirling around. So information a lot of times kind of curbs that and helps people sleep better at night, at least as long as they know the information. From that, at the beginning of their senior year, we hold another assembly with the class, and this is where we begin to personalize our approach. We instruct them to make individual appointments with us and help the students find the right match for the school that is right for them. Piggybacking on that, we follow this up with a senior college planning night where we again invite the parents to come to the high school to go over the whole process. We decided to offer a little different approach by inviting guests from some local colleges that have been used as a panel presentation. We tried to have a representative from a variety of different schools broken down in different categories. The categories that we chose were four-year large private school, 4-year large public school, 4-year small private school, and a 2-year local community college. This is in general, some of the places that most of our students have chosen to attend school after graduation. And some of the schools that have visited us have been Boston College, UMass Lowell, Tufts University, Emerson College, Merrimack College, and North Shore Community College. It's been very successful because it has allowed for the parents to hear firsthand the type of students that each school is trying to admit, and it also gives the parents an opportunity for a question and answer. So this is not only helpful for us, but it also getting the information directly from the colleges to the parents, and then having the opportunity to ask follow-up questions has been very, very successful, we feel. And lastly, another program that we work hard at promoting and perfecting is our college financing seminar, where we have a guest from the Massachusetts Educational Financing Authority speaks to the North Reading community about how to fund their college experiences. You might be aware of the price tag of a college program is very, very expensive these days. And I mentioned earlier anxieties. A lot of anxiety is tied to where's my son or daughter going to attend their school after graduation. And then the anxiety sometimes gets risen a little higher is what, gee, how am I ever going to afford this or pay for that? So this has been very, very helpful for us, at least getting the answers. And again, the parents use this as a kind of a question and answer type of thing. Lastly, we help to use the nights to invite representatives from local scholarship organizations to help inform the community about different local scholarship opportunities that are available to the residents of North Reading. Okay, with that, I know Mr. Rosa would now like to present to you a few of the tools that we as a staff use in the post-secondary planning.
In the interest of time, I went, and I'll just take a moment, I went into the Naviance database already, and I put myself in as a student, so we're not compromising anybody's, and you'll notice the 4.0 GPA right there. I wasn't going to put it.
That's on an 8.0 scale.
But just to show you, this is some of the typical sort of biographical information we'd be able to access right off the bat from a student. And this is all, some of our tech people help us. This all gets uploaded directly from our Administrators Plus database. So this isn't like we have to go in and hand input it. It gets all taken over. So there's things like our 2 different GPAs, our class rank, those types of things that we can put in here. And then just phone numbers and some simple information like that. And we can upload as much information or as little as we want. I'll show you that we started subscribing with the College Board to get our SAT results on CD-ROM right now. And so we get those, and we're able to upload those directly into the program. So these are obviously, I put in mock scores for myself, but as many times as a student takes a test, you can do everything from PSATs to the SATs to ACT. So it's kind of right at our fingertips in terms of being able to access this information. Under colleges, usually here you would see any college that the student had us send a transcript to. Our guidance secretary actually inputs this part when she sends out transcripts. We can look at the date it was sent, etc. And I wanted to show you a little, just a little part of this. I talked about college admission trends, etc. And here I put in some prospective colleges that if I was a student and maybe I talked to my counselor about some schools I wanted to apply to, we can look at that. And then what I can do is I can look at each school. I'm actually going to choose another example. I'm going to use UMass Lowell, popular school with our students. What you see here, if I can move it up a little bit, this is us tracking the college admission trend. So this has 3 years, well, 2.5 years worth of data. We're going to be polling our seniors this week to get answers as to where did you get into, where did you not get into, where were you waitlisted, and things like that. But it's essentially a scattergram. On the left-hand side over here, you see our GPAs on the 8.0 scale. Down here you see SAT scores, like a combined SAT score, not including the writing because it's new, but the critical reading in the math sections. I would be this red circle up here with my very strong GPA and decent SAT scores. And you can see now all the green squares that you see are students that have been admitted, have applied and been admitted to UMass Lowell over the last 3 years, and students with the red X's are students that have been denied. It's not a perfect science, as you can see. You see some of those green squares mixed in with the red X's, but if we were working with the student, perhaps up here, we'd say it looks, based on our data, that you have a fair shot of being admitted this year. Just quickly, I'll go over to sort of the college side of the program. Right off the bat, when we link into the colleges, we've created a college quick list with some of the more popular schools that our students have applied to. And again, picking one, I'll even pick a local school like an Endicott College. When we link into Endicott, you can see that we have a brief application history, how many students have applied, how many were admitted, how many chose to enroll, etc. Everything, scrolling down the page here to admission deadlines, that type of thing. I mean, really, we could go on for a long time with this, but again, the analysis, this offers, without us graphing a student in it per se, just offers us an overall view, including giving us the average for an accepted student at Endicott over the last 3 years, particularly from North Reading High School. And you see some students admitted, some, the blue diamonds are students that were waitlisted at the school, and the red X's are students that were denied admission. So just wanted to kind of give you a quick, because I know I was talking about a lot, to give you guys a quick overview of what I was presenting about.
Questions? She's wondering how many years of data you have for these scattergrams.
It's now, we're in our 3rd year, so we started with the class of 05, so we have complete data for class of 05, class of 06, and then probably some of this year, as the kids come down and tell us, we enter it, but we'll be doing a formal, this actually prints many different reports, one of them being what's called the senior survey. It takes all the schools we know they've applied to, and they can report, admitted, denied, that kind of thing. So it actually gets, we're starting to promote it a little more because we have a little bit more data.
Is there any way to track students after they've
Not through this program, I don't think. I don't think there's any follow-up you need for like alumni and stuff like that. I don't think there is anything like that through this program.
Is that, one of the things that I'd like to see is it, and obviously it would take more work, and I think with a staff of 3 and the number of students we have at the high school, I think you have enough work. But I'd like to see at some point if we could get to a point where not only we track whether they graduate, but what do they do after they get out of college? You know, surveys, and I know it's harder to get the information back as the further away they get from college, from high school years,
Yeah.
but that would be great to start getting that kind of information.
See what they're going on to do.
Yeah.
To see if they've selected the right college or the right career path, to, to get a better idea of if our counseling in a career choice
Yeah.
is working.
Did you have to transfer?
Right.
One of the things that we were looking to do, possibly toy with, is that during our junior college planning night, to invite some of the alumni that graduated from North Reading High School currently in the college, so they can come and speak to the parents about the process and what was good and some of the things that they could put forward now that they are in college and talk to the parents more about that.
Do you make this available through the website, a report based on this information, or could we do that at some point?
The information right now, is available through our counsel's office. But now that we have enough data, they usually recommend the company don't put it live and you just have 1 year of data because
Right.
there's not enough, the privacy issue, that type of thing. Now that we have 3 years, there is an option that we're talking to the company about where students can have their own account and link on to this. And obviously, all the information is confidential. They can't see any student information, but they can see the college.
But I'd like to see some kind of report that we could make available, not necessarily on the website, but if we had something to point the public to say, if you want to go to the high school, you can thumb through this report and see where our students are applying, where they're getting accepted, and where they're attending.
Yeah.
And because I think you see the list of where students are going, and that doesn't tell you even half the story.
Right.
So if we get a more comprehensive report, something like that would be helpful, even if as a committee we could get some kind of report on paper, that'd be great.
Yeah, okay, great, yeah. I think some of the reports that it generates are like,
Great. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think this is our first meeting, as Dr. Trojan said, away from the middle school and at the high school. And what we want to do is showcase what's going on at our individual schools. I think the high school did a great job tonight. I thank Mr. Bernard and everyone else that was involved. And I think after the summer is over, we want to get back and attend or have meetings at the 3 elementary schools and then return or then get back to our old home at the middle school. So thanks everybody from the high school tonight. All right, let's get back to our agenda. We have continued business, and the first item is school building projects. Jerry, anything on batch report?
No, we are winding down. We should have a meeting sometime in June. There's only about $40,000 left in the account to pay. There's only $40,000 right now. The punch list is very small. We do have to address, you can tell just by driving by, some of the landscaping issues. We lost a lot of shrubs and some trees over the winter. Those are all going to be replaced at the cost of the total contract. And we're closing in fairly rapidly on the 1 year date of the completion, which is around September 1st. So we need to pretty much wrap up the punch list by that time. And, we can do that.
The invitation. What's that?
Tim Murray's name on it.
No, that's Steve.
So that's Steve.
That's fine.
But you can open it anyway, Jerry.
Wasn't even invited to.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, we received an award,
Because we're getting-
Historical Commission.
Oh, yes, so this one.
And there's we've been invited to the 29th Annual Preservation Awards reception on Thursday, May 31st, 2007. And again, this is regarding the award we won for the bachelor, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. It's in Boston. We're invited by Secretary of State Lindsey Galvin. And I guess we have to see who's interested in going to that. That award was won as a result of a